Największy wdzięk i szyk, największy smak i dryk, czaruje wszystkich w mig. Barbara, na będzie pięknie gra, wieprzyków 1000 ma. Malutki nos, milutki głos, po prostu wielki los. Barbara, dziewczyna ma, Barbara jedyna ma, to cudna będzie para, złączone serca dwa. Barbara, Barbara i ja.
Mamy tutaj kilka bardzo fajnych browarów belgijskich. Większość, tak, hello. Większość z Brukseli, ale mamy też Petrusa, który jest spoza rejonu Brukseli. I teraz tak, zaczynając, doskonale nawet się złożyło, dlatego że Szymonie, jesteś od razu na samej górze, dlatego że ja bym nie spamiętał w ciągu jednego dnia. Szymon Urban i Jean, nie ma? Żona? Jeszcze nie ma. Idzie, gdzieś tam idzie Jean. Dobra, w każdym razie Szymon Urban, Brasserie de la Senne.
Halo? Should speak English or
Teraz to
Polish?
po polsku możesz, potem
Dobrze.
będzie.
Może znowu, zanim zaczniemy wszystko, chcielibyśmy bardzo, bardzo podziękować za przyjęcie, za festiwal. Naprawdę od 2 dni bawimy się przednie. Może trochę za dużo, może trochę powinniśmy więcej, ale naprawdę jesteśmy tak ugoszczeni i obiecałem wszystkim browarnikom, że jeżeli przyjedziemy do Warszawy, ta gościnność polska naprawdę będzie tutaj, więc dziękujemy jeszcze raz bardzo za zaproszenie.
On tak ładnie wygląda nie tylko dlatego, że mówi po polsku, ale imprezowali do 5 rano, więc jak będziecie mieli pytania,
To później, to o 5 rano.
to takie bardziej delikatne.
Tak.
Bardzo dobrze znowu się złożyło. Cantillon. Cantillon, Florian Van Rij akurat jest na dole, bo ma panel, przyjdzie do nas za chwilę. Natomiast Amory.
Yeah, definitely. Hello, everyone. I'm the illustrator of Cantillon Brewery. It's a brewery who started in 1000.
1900.
Exactly that. You're right. And so it was some in a way one of the oldest brewery in Brussels. And they do gueuze. So gueuze is just like the true recipe of beer in a way, for me, maybe. And that's it, I think. Yeah.
Yep. For the start, of course. Następnie mamy Petrus, browar Petrus, czyli browar de Brabandere. Petrus jest taka specjalna linia piw, które akurat właśnie to jest problem. To jest bardzo fajne stoisko. Mało kto wie, że chociażby Aged Pale, którego specjalnie sobie tutaj wziąłem, jest piwem niemiksowanym, to znaczy jest miksowane między fyderami, między kufami, jak to po polsku się ładnie mówi, czyli zbiornikami drewnianymi. Te zbiorniki drewniane, które są w browarze de Brabandere w Petrusie, to są takie zbiorniki, co mają bagatela 220 hektolitrów każdy. Dla skali w mało którym browarze rzemieślniczym polskim zbiorniki ze stali nierdzewnej przekraczają 40, 50, 60 hektolitrów. A tu mamy 220 hektolitrów w samym drewnie. Bardzo prosiłbym też o powitanie właśnie Emanuela.
Hi everybody, my name is Emmanuel. I'm head of export at Brewery de Brabander, mostly known for the Petrus beers, where we age beer for 2 years on oak foeders in order to have a very nicely sour beer, which we call, and I think he already explained, Petrus H Pale, which we also use as a blending beer to make other beer styles more complex. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. Thanks.
No i właśnie do nas dołączył Florian Van Rij, czyli 5. generacja browaru Cantillon. No to tak od tych 1900 roku, cały czas w rękach jednej rodziny. My możemy na razie niestety pomarzyć w takich kwestiach. Słuchajcie, kolejny browar, który jak sami o sobie napisali, w momencie, gdy się otworzyli, dublowali ilość browarów w Brukseli, ponieważ wcześniej był tylko Cantillon, potem mieliśmy właśnie Stoemelings. Bardzo piękna nazwa i musiałem sprawdzić parę razy na YouTubie, jak to się wymawia.
Hi everybody. So I'm Denis. I'm the co-founder of Stoemelings Brewery, which is the third and fourth brewery of Brussels. 10 years ago. Why third and fourth? Because we happened to open with another brewery at the same time. So 10 years ago there was Cantillon, there was de la Senne, and that's it. Like Pinta, 10 years ago there was nothing. So we come from a long way in Brussels. Right now we are doing 2,200 hectoliters a year and proposing some local styles and genuine Belgian stuff. So if you want to taste the Belgium, come to our stand.
Wonderful. And actually, I wasn't brief about you, so if you could introduce yourself properly, I would be glad.
Dzień dobry, jestem Nicola. I'm a brewer and owner of L'Hermitage. We're called L'Hermitage Nano Brasserie, but we're no longer Nano Brasserie. We've grown way past that. Pretty much what we tried to do with our brews is, unfortunately, we didn't bring those today with us, but we do a lot of mixed fermentation experiments. And we have a clean core age on the side. So today with us we have our Lanterne, which was our first baby, if you want to say our first beer. We have Berto's Early Breakfast, but the way the brewery is moving and going on, we're slowly leaning more and more towards wood and wild fermentation, mixed fermentation techniques. So, yeah, I'm really not good at speaking in public, so I'm very sorry. But yeah, it's thank you all for coming. And at 8, we have a degustation, so I'm going to talk a bit more about the brewery, the beers, what we stand for, what we do.
Zapytałem generalnie na stronie, znaczy na fanpage'u bardziej, o pytania do tych pięknych naszych uczestników. Ja jestem osobą, która bardzo walczy z poglądem, że Belgia jest nudna. Generalnie, że standardowe, tradycyjne style piwa są nudne. Absolutnie się z tym nie zgadzam. Generalnie to są podstawy, na których się uczymy, na których pracujemy. Zresztą zobaczcie, jak potem tacy ładni rumianie rośniemy na tych tradycyjnych stylach. W związku z czym, jako że oczywiście można było się spodziewać tego, że połowa pytań, jakie będą, to będą pytania do Cantillon i będą to pytania o lambiki. Najbardziej brukselskie piwowarstwo z tym będzie się w Polsce kojarzyło. Mam nadzieję, że po dzisiejszym panelu będzie się kojarzyło troszkę też inaczej i też inne piwa i też będziecie chcieli spróbować te inne piwa. Florian, the first question that was asked, and that was a wonderful question, I love it. Pastry lambic. When and why?
Never.
That's basically the answer that I did want to hear.
Never and ever.
Never and ever. So basically the other question that was connected with this one, would you do lambic with tonka beans?
No, ever. If I even try to, even if I think about it, I think that my grandfather will kill me.
And he would probably be right.
Yeah, sure.
So well, basically you cannot kill a beer that's other from Brussels, a lambic, but if someone would say a la lambic beer, a la lambic pastry, what would you think about that? What would you say about the style that would be more, a pastry attempt on a lambic?
No, I really don't agree with that because, my grandfather just fought so hard to. He's not the only one, but he was one of to fight so hard for the lambic and for the protection of the lambic. So to hear that kind of thing, it's not. But I think, and my father is a good example. We are really up to try with a lot of things, a lot of fruits, a lot of seeds, a lot of. But pastry lambic is just impossible.
So, on a more serious note, traditional lambic and the new wave variations. So, what is your opinion about how well, maybe not the lambic market, but how about these trends that are for lambics and for others, let's say, common styles of beer, would look in the following years in Belgium and globally?
For me, it's always nice to. When I say for me, it's for us, for the brewery. It's always nice to see that the lambic is becoming trendy and that people are really loving that. So yeah, we are really like kind of open people to new try, to new wave, but the most important is really to understand lambic and to don't make it really like kind of a bad trend with you have to respect it. That's what I want to say. You have to respect it and understand it, and after that, of course, you can play with it and do new things. But yeah, you have to respect lambic and yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So, what do you think about recently being more common lambic blenderies, which sometimes have even more hype and more publicity than lambic breweries? Okay, so we're starting with you and the rest of you guys. Lambic blenderies, your opinion about them?
I can just I think that for everybody here, the one to who we think when you say blendery is Tilquin. Yeah, Pierre is working really well. I'm totally okay about that. Really, no, for me, yeah, blenderies is also hard work to really find the good lambic and to make a good beer like Tilquin is doing. So yeah.
Generalnie, jeżeli chodzi o blendernię, jest taki trend, że skupuje się, zresztą jak chociażby w innych alkoholach, tak? Że podmioty, które nie mają swojego własnego browaru, ale na przykład mają pozycję magazynową, stan magazynowy, magazyn, w którym mogą to robić, skupują piwo, Włosi bardzo często też tak robią na przykład, skupują piwo i teraz jest różnica, albo skupują brzeczkę, i ją następnie fermentują, leżakują, co tam będą chcieli zrobić. W przypadku lambika oczywiście nie można tak zrobić, że skupić samej brzeczki, bo to jest bez sensu. W przypadku lambika chodzi o to, żeby jednak już mieć tą brzeczkę zinokulowaną, czyli zaszczepioną tymi mikroorganizmami, które są w dolinie rzeki Senne, czy Senne, różnie jak to oni tam wymawiają, i żeby już była odfermentowana. I potem już właśnie mogą albo to leżakować w różnym drewnie, w różnych beczkach, mogą dodawać owoce, jakie tylko będą chcieli. Więc jest bardzo dużo możliwości, które blendernia może zrobić, które w stosunku do browaru, który raczej w wielu przypadkach nie będzie robił. Na przykład Cantillon. Cantillon ma standardowo 300 gramów owoców na litr piwa, ale nic nie szkodzi, że właśnie blendernia sobie ustaliła 600 czy 700 gramów, jeżeli mają taką fantazję i się godzą ze stratami. Dobrze, niech będzie i tak. Any other opinion about blenderies, or is the Florian...
Może ja coś dodam do tego blendowania lombików, bo to jest taka bardzo ciekawa sytuacja. Wszyscy browary, które potrafią ważyć lombik, czyli mówimy tutaj o Cantillon, o Girardin, o Lindemans, który jest bardzo komercyjnym browarem, ale w mojej opinii robią najlepszy lombik, lepszy niż Cantillon. Po prostu trzeba mieć dojścia do tych browarów, trzeba znać tych wszystkich ludzi, żeby kupić od nich lombik, co jest bardzo ciężkie. Więc jeżeli Pierre Tilquin ma taką pozycję na rynku, w którym naprawdę zna wszystkich tych ludzi, zna to środowisko, które jest bardzo, bardzo zamknięte i dlatego może sobie pozwolić na kupowanie lombików z zupełnie innych browarów i je blendować. Ale na przykład jest, jeżeli mówimy znowu o lombikach, comment s'appelle les gars de Anderlecht? Qui font blagueuse?
Cantillon?
Non, de l'autre. O, teraz mamy nowy browar lombików w Brukseli. Comment ça s'appelle de... Ouais. Non, de lambic. Qui font de la gueuse. To są po prostu ludzie kiedyś pracowali w Driefontein. Czyli też znają, po co się to robi, jak to się robi, z czym to się robi. Żeby móc naprawdę, tak jak Flo powiedział, trzeba znać ląbik, żeby to zrobić naprawdę coś dobrego później.
To czy generalnie to, co właśnie powiedziałeś, i odniesienie do rzeczywistości ma sens, dlatego że nie możesz wejść z ulicy do browaru, który waży lambiki, który produkuje lambiki i powiedzieć, dobra, to ja bym tak chciał 10 hektolambika, nie, i sobie potem zrobić co chcę, nie? To musi być osoba, która rzeczywiście wie, o co chodzi i dodatkowo ma zaufanie osób, które ważą tego lambika, browarów lambikowych, żeby móc w ogóle ten lambik zanabyć do późniejszych swoich działań.
Tak jak na przykład my blendujemy często z lombikiem z Cantillon i to też polega na wzajemnym zaufaniu, że to piwo, które kupujemy od Cantillon, będzie użyte w bardzo dobry sposób. Czyli tutaj mamy na przykład przykład Saison de la Senne, który jest po prostu barrel age saison, który jest blendowany z lombikiem, 6-miesięcznym lombikiem i 2 lata beczkowane w piwach. 2 lata beczkowane w beczkach po winie. I polega to na tym, że jeżeli my kupujemy od Cantillon lombik, to znaczy, że oni dobrze wiedzą, co zrobimy z tym lombikiem. Nie można sobie rzeczywiście wejść z ulicy i powiedzieć, dobra, potrzebuję 30 hektolitrów lombiku, bo lubię.
One last question from Florian, because he has to ditch and go for the workshop. Okay, so I have to read this one, thanks of Marcin Ostajewski, because he wrote a small essay as a question for you. Okay, so the Confederation of Belgian Breweries, when applying for EU protection of the fruit lambic, described it as acid beer, the aromatic profile of which is characterized by an aging process in which the genus Brettanomyces bruxellensis and/or lambicus is a determining microbial component and having a minimum of 12.7 degrees Plato, a maximum pH of 3.8, and a maximum bitterness of 20 BU. Also, the total fruit content must be between 10 and 30% by weight of the final product. So, while fruit juice and fruit juice concentrate are equal concerning the recipes, doesn't this restrict the strict frames of the style of the fruit lambic? Doesn't this restrict the creativity of Pajottenland brewers?
I didn't did those rules, but I think that's whatever it's a bit. I'm gonna be. I repeat a bit what I told you, but yeah, I think that there are rules so that you can call your beer lambic or gueuze or whatever, but the most important is really to respect the product, respect the history of the lambic of the beer, and yeah, if you respect it, then do a bit whatever you want. But the most important is really to understand it, to respect it, and making great beers. That's the most important thing.
Well, thank you very much.
No problem.
You're free to go.
Okay.
Bardzo bym tutaj chciał, żeby przedstawili swoją filozofię, żeby przedstawili wam te piwa, które zaproponowali tutaj, dlatego że z tego co widzę, to za bardzo kolejek nie ma, a na przykład taki Petrus, którego właśnie sobie piję, jest zajebistym piwem. Zresztą chłopaki też mają fantastyczne piwa, tripelki, nie tripelki. Triple jest jeden z fajniejszych stylów piwa, gatunków piwa, jakie możemy wypić. Więc może zaczniemy od Stoemelings. So, Dennis, if you could say more about the philosophy standing behind your brewery, why did you start brewing those beers? Why do you have such a wonderful pills and triple on the tops right now? That would be great.
Cheers. So the aim for me was to renew with the Belgian tradition. As well in Brussels, that there was like 2 breweries left, per se, 10 years ago. I was so sad to see my own city with only like national beers or imported beers in Brussels. Even though we all say that Belgium is a country of beer, I was so sad. So I decided to take this on my own and start a business, you know. I saw that the people were really reacting to it like, wow, you are doing so much good thing. Let's follow you guys, you know. I was like really like swarmed with happiness. So the main thing that I wanted to see is people enjoying a beer and have a good time. That's really why I started the business. And I think everybody does as a brewer, just to share some happiness and around the beer. So by that, we just brewed some genuine styles, but with a twist. So every time you say a triple, I'm going to do a triple, but with a twist. If you don't know what the twist is, you have to taste it afterwards.
I rzeczywiście ten triple, którego tam możecie po drugiej stronie na ekranie zdobyć, zachęcałbym do zobaczenia. Jest jeden z fajniejszych, jakie piłem ostatnio. Jest naprawdę bardzo wytrawny, leci mocno w stronę fenolową. Bardziej chłopaki z de la Senne mają, mają bardziej w stronę taką estrową tego tripla. Jeszcze bym chciał wyjaśnić, że Stoemelings to, jak się okazuje, w lokalnym brukselskim narzeczu znaczy tyle, co u nas dokładnie pod stołem. Dlatego, że pierwsze piwa, które robili na totalnym nielegalu, czyli w Europie Zachodniej, tego się nie pozbyli. Też się da, jak pokazuje. So I actually explained what Stoemelings means and why did you call it like that?
So in Brussels, you have to know that it's the capital city that's mixing two languages, which are French and Flemish. So Stoemelings is really like a mix of Brussels speech. When you say doing something on Stoemelings, it means doing something under a table with secrets. And why we choose the name of the brewery like this? It's because we didn't pay any excises. So the taxes on the alcohol, we didn't pay it at first. So we were doing everything on Stoemelings. So reassure you, we pay the taxes now. So so Stoemelings means this.
Okay, so let's go with the Brabandere, aka Petrus. So, if Emmanuel, you could tell us why basically the special line of beers made in the Brabandere is named Petrus, and what actually have you now on taps?
Okay, so the Brabander is currently in its 5th generation of family ownership, passed on from father to son. And 3 generations ago, we started to make specialty beers.
And actually, one of the first generation owners was called Józef.
Yeah, that's right. And the origins of the name have a religious connotation, whereas the owner of the brewery thought that he would be granted the keys to heaven by naming his beer Petrus, because, as you know, here in Poland, you're a Catholic country.
Święty Piotr.
Saint Peter is the person who, or the saint who guards the keys to heaven, and he thought that when he would die, he would have an easier access to heaven. That's why, for a long time, the slogan for Petrus was the key to heaven, because the beers are so delicious. That was the origin of the name.
And actually, you have one main beer that is used as the main blend for other beers, other brands that you have.
That's right.
In Petrus.
So we started out. You have to know that in the west of Flanders, where I'm from, there's a beer style that is older than even Pilsner in Belgium. Pilsner only arrived in 1904, if I'm not mistaken. And before that, in the region where I'm from, people were drinking refreshingly dark beer that had a little acidic connotation. And so we were also brewing beer in smaller, well, now they're bigger, but smaller barrels. And it was a mix of a young brown beer with some sour beer at 5.5 ABV. So very low ABV, refreshing. And it was actually only years and years later, in the 80s, we got a visit from Michael Jackson, not the singer-songwriter, but the beer hunter. So he was an Englishman who in the 80s had beer clubs in the UK and in the States, and he visited the brewery.
And he actually also was known for not only his beer spreading of the beer culture, but also
right.
whiskey.
Indeed. So Michael Jackson visited our brewery in the early 80s because he was writing a book on Flemish red ales, like we have Petrus Roodbruin and Petrus Bordeaux. And he asked the owner if he could taste the beer that we use in our Flemish red ale, so the base beer, let's say, our sour beer. And the owner said, like, yeah, okay, you can taste it. It's really sour and we don't really commercialize it, but if you want, you can have a taste. And so he found a product that was dry to the bone because that beer is aged for 2 years before we use it as a blending beer. And he said, wow, you guys are really not doing anything with that beer besides blending it together with other beer styles? And he said, yeah, that's basically what it is. And he said, you're crazy, you should bring that to the market. So he was actually way before everybody else knew that it was going to become a trend. He bought actually the content of one fooder and distributed it to his beer clubs.
One whole 220
hectoliters, so 22,000 liters is the content of one of those fooders. It's the equivalent of 66,000 bottles. And so yeah, if it weren't for him, our Petrus H Pale, which now is one of the most iconic sours in the world, would have never taken a flight if it weren't for him, because he took it to the UK and to the US, and thanks to him, that beer got so known. Yeah.
To jest w ogóle ciekawa sytuacja, dlatego że sama nazwa prawdopodobnie aż tak bardzo nie kojarzy nam się z tym, czym w zasadzie właśnie Petrus Aged Pale jest. No bo pale, tak, no to będzie pale ale, tak, aged pale, no to kurde, nie wiem, tam dojrzewane, ale może jakieś nachmielone, w tą stronę niefajne. Się okazuje, że to jest piwo naprawdę mocno w stronę bardziej nawet octową niż w stronę jakiegośkolwiek innego kwasu, więc jeżeli lubicie piwa, które są kwaśne, ale właśnie znowu to spotkałem się z sytuacją, że kwaśne nie oznaczało octowe. No dla mnie oznacza octowe, więc jeżeli lubicie piwa kwaśne, jeżeli lubicie właśnie lambiki, to zdecydowanie spróbujcie Aged Pale, dlatego że znowu nie jest mega popularne, a jest mega ciekawe. Choćby dlatego, że no, mało kto to zna i Petrus nie jest jakąś taką marką szczególnie silną, jeżeli chodzi o marketing, nazwijmy to tak w Polsce. Ale no, wszystko jest do poprawy. Okay, so I guess Florian told some things about Cantillon, but if you could, let's say something about the beers that you've got right now on tap, or maybe other stories about Cantillon, that would be great.
Okay. So, in what way you want me to explain? I mean,
Okay, so what you've got right now on tap concerning Cantillon beers, or why not, for example, Iris has the Iris on the label.
yeah, Iris is a symbol of Brussels. So, I mean, the city of Brussels.
Kosaciec żółty, po polsku sprawdziłem to specjalnie.
Yeah, it's a flower. Yeah, sure. So the
Kosaciec żółty in Polish, Iris. So yeah. Well,
Okay. Sorry, I get it. Yeah. So this beer is just like the painting of.
so basically, when you started, there were more than 100 breweries in Brussels.
Yeah.
And 20 years ago, 20-something, there was only one.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
It was Cantillon.
Yeah, definitely. And it was the basics. I mean, it's crazy, but there is a lot of gueuserie, because it's a term of making gueuse. It's not a brewery, it's a gueuserie. There is something like 300, I think, gueuserie in the old times. just one now in Brussels, and it's pretty precious because it was the old way of brewing. I mean, and it's really complex because there is yeast in Brussels that you can find everywhere else. I mean, that's the point of making Gueuse Cantillon possible and all the lambic possible, because there is one yeast, savage yeast in Brussels that didn't exist everywhere else. So, yeah.
Jedna rzecz, która może wszystkich interesować, dlatego że jest dużo dziwnych teorii na temat wymowy tego konkretnego słowa, przy czym część jest taka, że należy się opluć i złamać sobie język. So, what is the proper pronunciation?
Gueuse.
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 Więc jeżeli
Yes.
nie wiedzieliście, jak się poprawnie
It depends.
wymawia, to nie
Americans-
jest żadne cokolwiek, tylko jest to goose, najzwyczajniej na świecie.
Americans people sometimes just like
Booze.
gyoza. Limit like gyoza, like Japanese gyoza, you know, just I made
Gyoza.
some,
The
like
dumplings.
gyoza, you know, just the dumpling, you know, just it's really funny. Yeah, no, it's goose.
Czyli właśnie, jeżeli
Goose.
będzie kiedykolwiek chcieli kupić, zamówić cokolwiek, poprawna wymowa to goose. Szymon, opowiedz o was.
Maybe I will speak English now because the guys they correct me in some point. And but I think what is interesting about our 4 breweries that we are here, because we are very committed to the tradition of the brewing. Like every brewery that we are from, we are very respectful and for the Belgian tradition and of a Belgian way to make a beer and the Belgian to sell the beer, how to serve the beer, how to do it with the don't go for the shortcuts. We do it with the time. We take time to do the beer. We think about the recipes. Even we've got Nico, who is like maybe L'Hermitage is the most modern new wave brewery in Brussels, but they still brew the beer with the respect of Belgian traditions. And our brewery, like La Senne, we try to do something new, but still very implanted in a traditional way of brewing. So we still brew, everybody of us, is still brewing in a very Belgian way. Not Czech Republic, no, I don't know, not England, without any disrespect. But and we start to give something new, something from our side, maybe some new hops, maybe some new yeast, maybe some different way of selling, of labeling, than the traditional way of Belgium. And I think that's the most interesting stuff and the most common stuff between us, the 4 breweries. Nico.
I can add pretty much all the Brussels brewers you see here tonight. Sorry, Petrus, you're not from Brussels. But we all put in our hearts and our souls. We work shit ton of hours to make what we esteem to be good beer. It's up to you guys. You guys are the judges. The big problem in Belgium is that there's more and more breweries that pretty much they think of a recipe, they have it brewed by someone else, they put a label on a bottle and they just like sell it. And for me personally, that's always a slap in the face. Like, why should you spend 5 minutes coming up with a stupid fucking recipe in your garage, buy it in bulk, and send it? Win fucking beer prizes. Like some of these beers have gold medals. They put in none of the work. Nothing. It's just... And yeah, I'm gonna go and...
Nico?
Yeah.
You basically went heads up of my next question for you guys, because both of you blokes look like you can have this quote from your website on the t-shirt. For those fake brewers, we have no respect, as they claim to be something they are not, and are extremely far from the real craft spirit.
Actually, what we say to fake brewers, there's one Polish word for it. I think it's kurwa. What the fuck? Like, No. Like,
That's
no,
actually a very universal usage word.
Yeah, but fucking fake breweries. No, it's in Brussels. There's a couple of examples, and for me personally, it hits home. I don't like it when people, when they just, I don't know, they just don't put in the work. They just don't put in the work. I'm gonna leave it at this. Before it gets emotional, maybe I'll start crying.
Okay, so
We never know.
Let's look on the more of the bright side of brewing beer and having beer.
Oh, yeah,
So
the bright side of brewing
another
beer.
question for you.
Yep.
Because you especially say that for some stages of beer production, you actually opted for less, let's say, enhanced, newer technologies and went with the simpler technologies on beer production just to save the flavor, save the taste of the beer.
Could you repeat that question?
So,
please?
for example, filtration of the beer.
Oh yeah, we have our brew system is a hot liquor tank on top of a mashing tank. So we'll recirculate the wort until it's clear. We will not spend any more money on a centrifuge or whatever that is, because it's not necessary. Beer is a natural product. We add some stuff to make it more clear, protein, to be honest. But other than that, I don't see why I should pay $25,000 for a machine that makes it even more clean. I mean, it's a natural product. Like, if that answers your
That's
question.
a great answer.
Yeah.
On Stoemelings, then, one of the things that I found doing the research for this one on your website is smells like Brussels spirit. Could you elaborate on this one?
So it's a spirit, of course. Haha. The thing is, everybody knows about the coronavirus, and everybody knows that we had rough years as brewers. All the bars were closed, so we were like with a shitload of beer actually. And so, not to spoil it and to just put it in the drainer, we decided with several microbreweries to just give the kegs and distillate something and have just a spirit about it. So we couldn't waste the beer if you want. Otherwise, I just like killed 300 kegs for myself during the Corona part. So it's really sad to brew your beer and just see it down the drain. So yeah, that's what the Brussels spirit is
So it's
like.
like basically thinking local, doing local.
Sorry?
Thinking local, doing local, right?
Yeah, so we gathered a group of several breweries, not all of them, of course, but yeah, it's a local thing. As Simon was saying, we are really friends in Brussels, and everybody is like joining hands several times. We work like with Cantillon, with La Senne. Sometimes, like two weeks ago, I just phoned to one of his associates. Yeah, Nassim. Yeah, what? I just need like 75 kilograms of da-da-da. Do you have it? Man, let me check. Yeah, I got it, man. Oh, sweet Jesus, thank you, man. So every time it's like this, you can count on the other brewers, and it's really nice to have.
And actually, Belgium is pretty known for...
Actually, sorry, because we forgot about that. We need to, we are in problems with our malt bill.
I don't take care of the bills, so I don't know.
So basically, Belgium is renowned for Genever, whatever you pronounce it. Basically, an
Genève.
basically an eau de gin. So the smells like Brussels spirit was like pseudo gin.
Yeah, you can mix it. You can drink it like just neat. But as you are a land of vodka and stuff, I will not like say that it's the most fabulous thing you ever tasted. But it's an offense for you guys. But yeah, it's really nice, and they just added some more spices just to complete it. It was really a good thing, you know. But I'm not such a drinker of hard liquor myself. But yeah, sadly there's no more of it. But I hope that there's no corona in the future. But we can redo the attempt with other breweries. I don't know.
Petrus, no. Okay, so basically it's totally easier to work on stainless steel and have stainless steel tanks. Well, you have to have people that know how to deal with the leakage, you know how to take care of the fooders. So why do you take all the means, all the time, all the resources to have your beer in the fooders?
Well, for one, because it's definitely worth it. I mean, what we're doing in the fooder with the fooder aging, you simply cannot do on stainless steel. So maybe to clear perhaps a misconception that I've been hearing when people visit the stand that I have a little further down the hallway here, is that, and it's perfectly normal, everybody needs to learn about aging beers. A lot of people think that what we're doing is barrel aging. Of course, the beer is aged in barrels, but it's not barrel aging. There is something else besides barrel aging. So barrel aging, for those who don't know, is when you take a barrel that has contained something else, like cognac or sherry or tequila or whatever, and you want that flavor to be impregnated through your beer, that's barrel aging.
Well, that's basically
What?
the basic physics that you've got. The smaller the container, the bigger is the contact
Indeed.
of
So-
the liquid with the barrel.
So basically, if you think about it, the fooders that we have are 220 hectoliters. There is a lot of beer that never touches the wood, so it is of no consequence what those fooders have contained in the past. I'll even say that we have commissioned fooders at the brewery that didn't come from somewhere else, so they have never contained something else. The fooders that we use merely function as an ecosystem for the wild yeasts to survive in. So that's why it's not barrel aging, it's fooder aging, and it's just so that the ecosystem can live on for 2 years in the barrel, in the fooder.
The sheer size of the fooders, like 220 hex. It's like you can have a camping house in the fooder. Basically, you can.
Sorry?
Basically, you can have a camping house built in the fooder.
Yeah, they're pretty big. If you come to the stand, I'll show you some pictures of how they don't fit in this hall. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to explain.
So the main
it's not barrel aging.
main idea is that basically when you have lambic breweries, the lambic breweries have the cool ships, the inoculation from the air.
Indeed.
I don't know if you have cool ships.
No.
No. So
the-
basically, you chill the wort, and then the inoculation, the having of the yeast, bacteria, whatnot,
Yeah.
not from the air, but from the barrel itself, because it has every and each of the fooders is like a giant microorganism ecosystem.
It's an ecosystem on its own. So because of the fact that we're not in the Senne Valley, we don't have those wild yeasts. But it's something you can copy by having it enclosed inside those fooders. So the procedure is similar, but yet different. And the reason why we do it is to use that beer as a blending beer to make other beer styles more complex. That's the big difference.
Okay, so you're gonna have to wrap it up. So the last question for all of you guys, we can start from you. If you'd had to choose one single beer from your stand that you'd like all these people here to go and try after the discussion panel, which one would it be?
For my personal opinion, if you're up to it, because if you want to have a small evolution in what you drink, come and try Petrus Aged Pale, please. It's our mother sour beer that we use to blend.
A mi się właśnie skończyło, jestem z tego powodu nieszczęśliwy. Delazen, one
beer.
single beer that you'd like everyone to try.
I will stand up for this. Harnash.
So that you basically have a speakeasy contraband on your stand, and you sell harnash. Yes. Where is Roch? or Cedric? I'd like them to know that.
Bringing the kegs of harnaś.
Szymon, to weź powiedz co byście polecali.
Jesus Christ.
XX Bitter. XX Bitter is the best.
Jupiler. Un petit jupe quand même, hein? Un petit jupe quand même. Myślę, że u nas na stoisku będzie najciekawsze, znaczy nie wiem, wszystkie są dobre.
Wszystkie dzieci są równe, ale niektóre są równiejsze. Które
myślę, że będzie najciekawszym takim słowaniem ten nasz triple, czyli to jest też taki rewolucyjny triple, czyli jest bardzo gorzki, fajnie wchodzi. Nie pijcie, znaczy pijcie ile chcecie, ale uważajcie na siebie potem. I naprawdę Jean de Bois chyba będzie takim najciekawszą pozycją, którą możemy pokazać w Polsce, że możemy robić inaczej triple niż wszyscy znają. I będzie można fajnie porównać na przykład z triplem z Stoemelings, czyli 2 różne podejścia do tego samego piwa.
To jest właśnie ciekawe, dlatego że Stoemelings, a ja właśnie jestem w bardzo głupiej pozycji, ale trudno. Dziękuję bardzo uprzejmie. Macie na jednym stoisku 2 triple belgijskie. Jest Stoemelings i jest de la Senne. 2 różne podejścia do tego samego stylu piwa. De la Senne jest dużo bardziej po stronie, rzeczywiście jest bardziej goryczkowe, ale też jest bardziej w stronę taką słodową, estrową. Z kolei Stoemelings ma dużo bardziej w stronę fenolową, w stronę właśnie tych pieprznych aromatów, takich typowych dla belgijskich drożdży. Więc możecie wziąć naprawdę 2 triple z tego samego miasta i będą zupełnie inne. Stoemelings, which one single beer that is currently on taps on your stand that you'd like everyone to try?
So the best beer you want to have at my stand is the one you share with me. So
That was actually romantic, but that's kinda a lousy marketing scheme.
no,
Because you have to tell people which
because
beer they
I
have
can
to
like
try.
tell you jokes and stuff about the brewery and go with the subject. So yeah, as I was saying, the pleasure of drinking a beer is
To be
just
honest,
simple enough.
from the beers that I had from you, I'd go with either the Pils or the Triple.
Triple.
Yep. So you've got 2 triples on one stand. I shouldn't ask Cantillon about which beer they do propose to try, but yeah, if you could say.
Goose, of course.
Goose.
Of course, yeah.
Of course, Goose.
Of course.
The most basic beer and the most basic style, which is like the beginning to all the other ones.
Yeah.
Which is actually a pretty decent answer.
I mean, it's an answer, and maybe you can try Drogon as well, because it's with grapes, and the mix between lambic and grapes is really awesome. I mean, it's a point of just, I don't know how to describe it, but the wine and lambic, it's just perfect. So try Drogon if you can as well.
Thank you very much for the applause, and I think I will share the opinion of everybody again that we are very happy to be here, and we will be very happy if you will come and try our beers, that we can explain you a bit more, because we are not here. We didn't came here just for we came here for the fun, of course, but we came here for share and to try the Polish beer, and actually every beer that we are trying from Poland is amazing. It's amazing. It's extremely the level. It's amazing. That's something that nobody would expect. We were expecting a bit, but just we are not here. I don't know to show off. We are very here to just make friends and share the beer.
I actually have something to add to that. A lot of people think that because we're Belgian breweries and we've been brewing for so long, that we think local craft is something that is threatening to us. It's rather the contrary. Wherever we go, travel abroad to promote Belgian beer, we always say that Belgian beer embraces local craft. Because why? If a country starts up with local craft, it takes consumers away from the multinational beers, which is what eventually we also want. Because then the consumer creates an appetite for good beers that are well thought over and are well made. And then eventually, when the consumer gets that appetite for good beer, they eventually swing along and discover Belgian beer anyway. So, just for the so that there is no misunderstanding, Belgian beer is very happy with local craft. So we can coexist, and there is plenty of beer for everybody. Cheers.
Thank you guys, thank you for your time. I zapraszam wszystkich, którzy spróbowali ich piw.